Have you ever noticed how your paycheck feels frozen in time, even though everything else keeps getting more expensive? Rent creeps up, groceries quietly double, subscriptions multiply like rabbits, and your salary, it inches forward just enough to give the illusion of progress, then stalls again. You get a raise, feel relieved for about a month, and then reality reasserts itself. You are back where you started, only more tired. Most people chalk this up to inflation or bad luck. That's comforting. It means the problem is outside of you. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Stagnant pay is rarely random. It's usually the predictable outcome of how modern careers are designed and how most people unknowingly play along. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. I've spent years paying attention to why some people steadily climb into higher income brackets while others hit a ceiling early and stay there for decades. The difference isn't intelligence, effort, or even education. It's how they think about work, value, and leverage. Let me show you what's actually happening. The silent deal you didn't realize you made. When most people get hired, their goal is simple: get the job. They prepare for interviews, negotiate just enough to feel okay, then mentally switch into survival mode. Do good work, be reliable, don't rock the boat, let time do the rest. That mindset quietly locks in a deal. I'll trade stability for growth. Companies love this deal. Your employer is not actively plotting against you, but they are optimizing for one thing: results at the lowest sustainable cost. If you perform well at your current salary, there is no built-in incentive to increase it. From the company's perspective, the system is already working. Loyalty feels virtuous, but it has almost no monetary value on its own. What companies respond to is leverage, and leverage does not come from being dependable. It comes from having options. Why staying put slowly drains your earning power. There's a phase early in a job where your value rises quickly. You're learning, improving, becoming more useful. After a few years, that curve flattens. You still work hard, but you're no longer becoming dramatically more valuable in the market. Internally, raises become smaller and more procedural. Externally, your skill set is now attractive to other companies who didn't invest years training you. They get the finished product. That gap is where income growth actually happens. People who never move miss this entirely. They accumulate time instead of leverage. Over a decade, the difference compounds massively. Even if each individual move feels modest, comfort has a cost. It just doesn't show up immediately. The danger of not knowing your price. One of the most common mistakes is assuming your current pay is roughly fair. Most people have no real data. They don't research market rates. They don't test demand. They don't interview unless they're desperate. Meanwhile, employers are negotiating with spreadsheets, benchmarks, and salary bands. One side is guessing. The other side is informed. That outcome is predictable. You don't discover your value by hoping. You discover it by looking. Why good work doesn't automatically lead to more money. There's a myth that performance speaks for itself. In reality, compensation is not awarded for effort. It's negotiated based on perceived replaceability. If you don't clearly articulate your impact, your alternatives, and your market value, you're defaulting to the company's assessment. And that assessment usually lands on good enough at the current rate. Asking for more isn't entitlement. It's how professional relationships actually function. Avoiding that conversation doesn't make you noble. It just makes you cheaper. Risk feels dangerous. Stagnation is worse. People stay in roles they've outgrown because change feels risky. New systems, new people, temporary uncertainty. What rarely gets calculated is the long-term cost of staying still. Skills age, industries shift, opportunities quietly pass by. 5 years of flat growth does more damage than a few uncomfortable months of transition ever will. Most people who move realize, in hindsight, that the fear was exaggerated and the upside was immediate. Negotiation starts earlier than you think. By the time an offer is on the table, the company already expects negotiation. The first number is rarely the real number. Salary is only one lever. Flexibility, time, development budgets, equity, scope, and title all carry real value. People who don't ask don't get, not because they aren't deserving, but because no one is incentivized to offer more than necessary. The moment you accept without discussion, you lock in a lower baseline that echoes for years. Being constantly occupied feels productive, but it's often a trap. High earners aren't paid for motion. They're paid for impact, solving problems that matter, driving outcomes that are visible. doing work that is hard to replace. If your day is full but your work doesn't change outcomes, your market value stays flat. You become efficient at routine, not rare at results. The safest careers are built on skills that travel well. If your expertise only works inside one company's systems, you're dependent. If your skills are valuable across many organizations, you have leverage. That difference determines how confidently you can negotiate, move, or walk away. Many people wait to be chosen, promoted, approved, recognized. Others build things independently, learn skills without being asked, solve problems that weren't assigned, create opportunities instead of waiting for them. No one is coming to hand you a higher income. That decision is decentralized. It belongs to the person willing to act on it. Years only matter if they include growth. Doing the same work repeatedly doesn't compound. Expanding scope does. Learning new systems does. Taking on responsibility does. Progress multiplies value. Repetition just fills time. Opportunities rarely come from job boards alone. They come from conversations, referrals, and reputation. If your professional world ends at your current employer, your options are limited by default. People who earn more aren't necessarily better. They're more connected. They hear about opportunities earlier and negotiate from a position of abundance. Many people decide early on what they think is realistic for them. Then they live inside that assumption indefinitely. Meanwhile, people with similar backgrounds quietly surpass those numbers because they never accepted that limit in the first place. They treated their career as something to actively shape, not something that happens to them. You can stay where you are, collect incremental raises, and hope the math works out. Or you can start treating your career like a market asset, something to measure, improve, reposition, and negotiate. One path feels safe in the short term. The other changes your trajectory. 5 years from now, those paths land in very different places. The difference isn't luck, it's decisions.